reducing these specific estrogen boosters. So I've given you an entire list of, I guess, more so categories in the last module, like estrogenetics to avoid. And we talk about really specific, like makeup, or not specific, so very broad makeup, grooming, parabens, phthalates. You've kind of learned what they are. These are my direct tips of what to take out of your environment. So a lot of these food items and whatnot, these are actually given to menopausal or postmenopausal women who are having a really hard time with a complete reduction and elimination of estrogen from their bodies. So what you'll typically find is that we want like an anti-menopausal diet or anti-menopausal exposure to help reduce excess estrogen into our body. So a lot of these things are being given to people to boost their estrogen intake, to increase estrogenic effects. We want to do the complete opposite if you're not reached that stage yet in life. So reduce these estrogen boosters. The number one hormone disrupting estrogenic product is unfiltered / tap water. So highly recommend just buying a 10-liter tub of filtered, non-chloride, non-fluoride water. Again, like fluoride, a known classed neurotoxin chemical on our brains. You shouldn't be having that anyway. But I know not everyone has the means to install filtration systems in their homes, or they're renting or whatnot, and you can only do what you can only do so far. So if you can, at all means, buy like the big tubs of water to have your water from. Buy from glass. No, don't buy plastic containers of water. Buy. I know you can get like it's kind of like a bladder, like a casked wine bag, but it's water. That's the kind of bag that I'm talking about. You can buy those. But unfiltered tap water, as I mentioned in the estrogenics to avoid module, if you haven't watched that yet, watch this briefly. You can put it on fast speed. Literally full of not only estrogenics from birth control that's running through our water systems. Has a hard time cleaning out, but you just never know, like the build-up of lime and shit, and just the crap that's stuck in our taps, in our filtration systems, let alone like the runoffs of herbicides that are entering into our waterways in our systems that aren't being filtered through correctly. So unfiltered tap water, plastics and plastic water bottles. So even the BPA-free ones, don't touch them, never drink them, never put them to your lips unless you're desperate for water. Because again, like the BPA that's used, it's BPA-free. They might have just simply changed the chemical structure of the plastic that they're using, so it's now no longer technically called BPA. Maybe it's called BPS. It still does the exact same like chemical damage and estrogenic damage to your body. Avoid plastic in microwaves at all costs. So even if that means you've got a frozen meal, take the frozen meal out of the plastic, put it in a ceramic microwave-friendly bowl, then put that in the microwave. Like I'm not against using microwaves, to be honest, but plastics in microwave, hardcore ban. Like hardcore ban. Beautiful mint, peppermint, spearmint. Oh yeah, and by the way, with this page, this is going to be evolving over time. So I'll be adding more descriptions, more links, more studies to back up the things I put down on this list. And it might even be longer than what I've done in this video up until this point. So just stay. If you're looking for updates, just go to the end of the list at the end. Mint, peppermint, spearmint, known to increase estrogen. So as we can see, like mouth fresheners, licorice, pesticides, vegetable grain farming, farmed fish, farmed omega. So a lot of people don't know, if you see the term Atlantic salmon, usually it means it's farmed salmon. So what we want wild salmon. The reason being is that the actual fish that are being farmed, they might be caged off in like an open ocean thing, but it might be an open ocean thing, but they're caged off. And there's thousands and thousands of fish just swimming in their own filth But not only their own filth, but these fishing farmeries will actually put chemicals in the water to help the fish, especially Atlantic salmon, which aren't actually very orange. It might not be this salmon, it might be a different salmon, but they're not actually naturally very orange once cooked. So they'll put chemicals in, like put water chemicals into where they're either swimming or into the food that they're giving them. So they're still giving them genetically modified corn. They're still giving them estrogenic foods to help boost the sizes of the fish. So they're manipulating the chemicals that the fish or cattle or whatnot are eating to make them larger so they can sell and make more profit. So the food that you're eating is actually estrogenic or has different antibiotics or different hormone manipulations in it, and that's causing you to be hormone manipulated. This is why you want to go as organic as possible. This is why we go organic. And bad omegas, so like flaxseed, soybean oil, canola oil. Yeah, how good that Atlantic salmon tip. I never knew that as well. So you never get Atlantic salmon. There's a reason why it's discounted. That's why. Soy products, I can't defend it anymore. Soy isoflavones, phytoestrogenic products. I've mentioned it before, but it's in like fake meats. A lot of vegetarians and vegans will actually be eating a shit ton of soy and boosting their extreme estrogenic responses in their body's receptors. Unfortunately, even like soy protein isolates, soy emulsifies soy protein nuggets that are in protein products. Avoid it at all costs. It spikes huge estrogenic activity in our bodies and therefore affects all our other hormones. Some natural soys are okay, but just to be better safe than sorry, I just advise you to avoid them at all costs, especially soy milks. Vegetable oils, I talked about briefly just before, but high polyunsaturated fatty acid oils and products, so canola oil, sunbean oil, corn oil, cottonseed and sesame oil / blanket wide vegetable oil. Vegetable oil is actually a really great lubricant for mechanical industrial products. It's not just that it's good. It's good for helping machines function, like literal machines. It's the oil used in machinery. It's not that it's just good. It's literally used in machinery. Vegetable oil is used in machinery. The reason why it is actively poisonous in humans is because it extracts vitamins out of our body. It's an anti-nutrient as well as a huge booster of inflammatory responses, increasing cortisol levels, estrogenic responses. I said anti-nutrient, didn't I? And what was the other one? It'll come to me. But yeah, the mere act of stripping the body of vitamin E causes a huge fluctuation of being able to control the excess estrogen in our body as it is. So swapping to get healthier oils and organic free-range meats. Most nuts and seeds, unfortunately. I do recommend macadamia nut. The only nut I'm ever going to recommend from here on out is macadamia nut. Every other nut, almonds have a really good health benefit to them. Almonds are healthy, but they do contain a little bit of phytoestrogen like response. So you win some, you lose some. Macadamia nut, from everything that I've looked at and studied, is probably the best one for us. Excuse me. And so I don't expect you to eliminate all nuts, but please eliminate flax. Eliminate your seeds. Eliminate sunflower, sesame, and flax, and I'll be happy. Walnuts, look, I've heard great things about walnuts and how it's great for brain function, and Brazil nuts are really good because it's got really good levels of selenium in them. But it's usually on the skin of Brazil nuts, and walnuts themselves have more phytoestrogens than almonds, I believe. So you're still getting an estrogenic response. So almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, moderate them. Don't have too many at all. Flaxseed, deserves its own heading. Avoid at all costs. It is the most dangerous phytoestrogen, like natural phytoestrogen, highly processed phytoestrogen. You might as well be like overdosing on female birth control when you're having excessive flaxseed in your body. That's how bad it is. Processed foods and trans fats. Why is this not moving? So obviously it's just more so that the processed foods and trans fats are just using ingredients. They're associated with ingredients, not only trans fats themselves having a poor effect on cardiovascular disease and health, type 2 diabetes and inflammation, so cortisol levels, but they're typically using cheap products as well when they're making processed foods, and therefore if they're using cheap products, it's obviously there's a reason why it's cheap, and the reason why it's because it's hormone disrupting. Excessive alcohol consumption. Beers made with hops, which is the estrogenic compound in that plant, which is actually replicating estrogen response in your bodies. And same with wine, to be honest. But a wine does have resveratrol, which is a really great. That's why people say wine is so good. It's got a great antioxidant. Resveratrol is meant to be really amazing for you, but it's better if you just have red grapes. But I know that's impossible. So if you can, please just switch to vodka lime sodas. I know. In one ear, out the other. I understand. Most pasteurized dairy products. I say most pasteurized dairy products is because estrogen hormones are used in cows to make them to lactate more. And so therefore we're not only just drinking dairy product, we're drinking a hormone manipulated animal that's going to have an effect on our own hormones by drinking that product. So that's one thing. Pasteurized dairy. So pasteurized dairy is essentially they take out not only like the bacteria that can be harmful for humans, but it takes out like the bacteria that's alive, that makes that product organic and powerful and natural and healthy, to be honest. And the reason why they take it out because it spoils so quick, and it can't be sold at a longer rate. Like it won't store in the fridge for a long time. It won't get to the store in time. Otherwise, it'll start becoming sour and moldy. So pasteurized essentially means it's dead. It's a dead product, just so it lasts longer. It doesn't go off. So again, like I've written here, I'm prone to eating protein yogurts, whey protein bars, and whey protein. So it's not just try to minimize it rather than eliminate if you can. Green tea. It's 2 words with green tea. It's got green tea extract is what's extremely healthy for you. Green tea itself can have, I think it's anti-testosterone response. And again, it's a bit of a hormone manipulator. It's got a tiny amount of caffeine, not too much. So it's more of an appetite suppressant. Don't overdo it. That's what I'm saying. Avoid touching receipts. I've mentioned that in the previous module. BPA is essentially a really toxic estrogenic, and it's almost as though it's an exploded pen. Every time you touch it, you get this exploded pen ink all over your hands, and you can't wipe it off, and it touches everything else. So even if you have a receipt from the store, you need to take it home, pop it in a plastic bag, seal it, and put that into your bag. Don't just put the receipt in your bag, because now it's touching your phone, now it's touching your wallet, now it's touching other items, your car keys. Every time you touch that, and then every time you touch your phone that has BPA all over it, even though you can't see it, now you're touching your food, and now you're touching your face. Oh, now you've got these ticks. Oh, I don't do that. So avoid it at all costs. Teflon pans, non-stick pans. Again, the chemicals, there's a reason why it causes it to become non-stick. And those chemicals that are causing it to be non-stick is actually seeping into the foods that we're eating and raising our estrogen response. Other random foods and supplements and herbs that are causing estrogen responses. So pumpkin seeds, BPA, fungal. It's just random things, to be honest. Like, didn't really deserve their own little categories. Things that are also causing hormone disruption. So it's not just those foods and items, but habits. So I've got a basic list that you can go over in your own time, but overtraining, excessive endurance or excessive cardio actually causes a greater cortisol spiking response and reduces testosterone levels, and therefore reduces your ability to put on muscle and your ability to enhance your quality of life, longevity, because skeletal muscle is associated with longevity of life, as well as being at a healthier weight, as well as increasing your metabolism. Being over 30% body fat for women, therefore being obese as well on top of that, because the actual excess fat on our body produces estrogen, holds estrogen in order to maintain the fat cells. So the more fat that you have in your body, the excess estrogen you have. So everything 30% body fat and over means you have excess estrogen production. So if you're over 30% body fat, you are a walking imbalanced hormone person, hormonal systems going on in your body. Irregular exercise, so fluctuations in hormone stabilization, hormone synchronicity, hormone balance. If you're inconsistent with exercise routines, not enough sleep at night. I'll go through that I've got my own sleep module here. Again, touching estrogenic compounds, calorie restrictions for too long. We'll talk about that in one-on-one coaching. Not enough vitamin D or sun exposure, or both. Not having enough regular sex, low body confidence, low poor body language, sedentary lifestyle, chronic drug use, tobacco, marijuana, and I'll say alcohol use, diabetes, pre-diabetic states, and aging. Nice. I'll go into the next one. The next one is the opposite of this. It's the things that we want to boost into our system, into our bodies, into our bloodstreams, in order to harmonize and balance out the body.